everybody, it's Mrs. Friedman. Welcome to another week of e-learning. Today is Monday, April 27th. Welcome. Hello, 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 and how are you? I'm fine, and I hope that you are too. This whole week, Mrs. Regula and I, we're going to talk to you about lots of different creatures and things about spring. We're going to talk a little bit about gardening and growing seeds. We're going to talk about what you find in the dirt and the soil, like all the different types of bugs. And we're going to probably round out the week talking about life cycles of certain animals and really talking about butterflies. We ordered some butterflies. We don't know if they'll be in on time, but once they come in, we're going to start watching their life cycle, and we'll talk more about that later on in the week. Okay, so today I was going to talk more about growing and planting things, and so I wanted to start with a finger play. Okay, so put out your hand. This is a garden. This is my garden. Make your palm flat. I'll rake it with care. Can you rake your garden? And then some flower seeds I'll plant in there. So I'll put some flower seeds in my garden. And the sun will shine, the rain will fall, and my garden will blossom and grow straight and tall. So you make your garden bed, then you're going to rake it, then you're going to plant it, then you're going to plant seeds, then the sun's going to shine, it's going to rain, and then flowers, the seeds, they usually start all crunched up, and then they kind of unfold, and then they grow really tall, right? The flowers. So that's how I have them all like in this tight thing, and then they kind of unfold, and then they start to grow through the dirt, and they pop through and they make flowers. This is my garden. I'll rake it with care, and then some flower seeds I'll plant in there. The sun will shine, and the rain will fall, and my garden will blossom and grow straight and tall. Awesome. This is called The Happy Gardener. This is one of those shape poems. So it's in some soil, and they have the plants growing up. The Happy Gardener. I gotta read this way. I take my little rake, and I hoe, 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 and break up clods of dirt in each row, row, row. I scatter tiny seeds as I sow, sow, sow. With water, sun, and patience, the beans will begin to grow, grow, grow. When we talk about the seeds, I have 2 packages of seeds at my house, just coincidentally. One is grass, cut grass seeds. And when I take a look at one of these seeds, and I take a look at just one little seed. You see, let me go this way. You can see it. It's kind of long, right? It's like an oval a little bit. And let me see the different side. Kind of, it's all the way around. And I also had a pack of seeds, just happen to have them. This is cilantro plant. And a cilantro seed looks like this. Oop, I don't even know if I'm able to hold it. It's tiny, really tiny. It's almost like a perfect circle. So a grass seed is long, and a cilantro seed is short and round. Every single seed will grow exactly what it's supposed to be. Just like when a dog has a puppy, that is always going to look like the doggy, right? this seed is always going to look like grass, and this one's always going to look like cilantro. So what I would say is if you have any seeds, or if you have any opportunity to get some seeds, pour some seeds onto a plate, something that's clear, and really examine those seeds. And you can compare them to each other. If you only have one packet of seeds, just studying those seeds a little bit closer. What do you notice? What shape do you see? And if you have seeds and you have the opportunity to plant the seeds, it would be fantastic if you were able to get a container of some sort, get some potting soil, and actually put the seeds in. So how am I going to do this? I'll hold it. The way you want to plant a seed, you want to take a finger and poke in the dirt, and poke in the dirt, and poke in the dirt. And you only want to try to put one seed. I'm going to put the little round ones. Remember, those were cilantro. I'm going to drop one seed in there. I'm going to drop one seed in there. I'm going to drop one seed in the third hole that I made. Get in the hole. And then you just kind of gently cover it up with the dirt. You don't pack it down tight. You just kind of nicely, gently do that. And then you got to put in the sunshine. You got to have some water or some rain. I'm going to keep it inside though because it's a little cold outside. So I'll use my faucet water. I'll put it by the window and hopefully we'll see what a cilantro plants. Then I have a second one and I'm going to do the 3 holes like I did. And I'm going to put some grass seeds in. Grass is the long ones that look more like ovals, right? The longer seed. Put those in the holes. I'm just going to cover it up, cover it up, cover it up. I'm not going to pack it down. And I'll put this one with a little bit of water or rain and a lot of sunshine and a window probably. And I'll see how those grow and I'll keep taking pictures of those and showing. If you have a chance to plant any flower or plant any kind of seed, I'd love for you to take a picture, and as it starts to pop up out of the soil and grows nice and tall, then maybe you can show that to me as well. Okay, so when you're looking at the seeds, I'm asking you to take a really close look at them. And in a little bit, I'm going to take you outside and show you some dirt and have you take a really close look at the dirt or the soil. But before we go outside, I want to show you some of these pictures. When you look at this, you can see I have one sheet of paper on the outside and one sheet of paper underneath. Okay, so take a look. All I'm showing you is this part of the picture. I cut a little hole. I want you to take a really close look. What do you think is the big picture? And I lift up the white sheet of paper. It was a bird. See that? I only show you one little section. And then I see the bigger one. It's a bird. What do you think this could be? It's bright and yellow. I'm going to look at you a little bit closer. What could that be? Is that a piece of fruit? Is that an animal? This is an animal. Ooh, look at that snake. It's snake skin. That's what I showed you. And that's what you see. Ooh. Ooh, I don't know if I like that one. All right, I'm going to give you a hint. This one's also an animal. Can you get a good look at that? It's an animal skin. Do you see these lines? And I'm telling you, it looks a little brownish, maybe a little orange with some black lines. It's an animal skin. Oh, did you think it was a tiger? Let's see what I showed you again. See that little part I showed you? And that's what it is. So sometimes when you have a picture and you cut just a little bit of a hole on top of a covering piece of paper, you have to really take a close look as to what it is, and then you examine it, and then when you see the full picture. So I'm going to have you try that we're gonna go into my backyard and we're gonna get some dirt and we're gonna really study the dirt and take a closer look. Okay, I am outside. It's kind of a chilly day, and I'm gonna dig some dirt. This is a science experiment. I wanted to see if maybe you can even try to replicate or do what I am doing. So I'm gonna dig in my garden. I'm gonna dig in a garden bed that I have not planted anything in yet. And I'm gonna take a big scoop of dirt or soil out, and then I'm gonna lay it out and see what I see in the soil. So let me take my shovel and my jar. Okay, so here is a patch of dirt that has not been planted yet for the springtime yet. I have my jar. I'm going to dig down. You want to use dirt that is in a garden bed. You don't want to use commercial topsoil. You want to dig down deep. You want to get some of the clay, some of the roots, some of the last year's mulch. Ooh, boys and girls, look what I found. Do you know what it is? Oh, it's so cold. I wonder if he thinks it's too cold out here. Here's a worm. I'm gonna put him in my jar because I found him when I did my digging. Okay, put some things in my jar. Good, I have my lid. I'm not gonna lid it yet. Okay, so I have my container of dirt. I'm gonna pour it, if either you have newspaper at your house, or I'm using a Ziploc bag, all good. Pour your dirt out, and I want you to use your close observations, and I want you to smell the dirt. I want you to touch the dirt. Really look at the dirt. What are you seeing? So when I see the dirt, I see roots. These are roots that have been dug up from last year. Ooh, there's even a little bit of a weed. A little weed has been growing. This little weed. There's some leaves that have been left over from last year. I found a stick. A few rocks. I let the worm go back. Some more roots. The dirt, to me, it looks light brown. Maybe some parts are dark brown. When I smell, it smells kind of stinky. Smells like outside to me. When I feel it, I feel like I can kind of crumble up the dirt. Like there's some chunks. The rocks are really hard. You can see all these different things. It feels a little bit wet. It doesn't feel very dried out, but it's been raining a lot. So when you do this, I want you to notice all the different things that you can see in the dirt. And do you know that the dirt and the soil is a good spot for a lot of living things to live in? And all these rocks. How do you think rocks get in the soil? But they might get broken up and then it becomes more of the dirt. Okay, we're gonna take all this dirt, we're gonna put it inside of our glass container, and then we're gonna go do a little oh, actually, hang on. Okay, so now what you're gonna do after you observe all the dirt, I want you to put it in about a cup full of dirt. So take your newspaper, or in my case, my plastic bag, just siphon it in. It's about a cup. Okay. Pour that into your container. Sticks and all. I'm going to put that leaf back in it too. Sticks and all. And then you take about a cup of water. Pour it in. Put your lid on top. And you're gonna shake. Make sure it's nice and tight. You're gonna shake it. Make sure all the soil is getting all mixed up with the water. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna let the jar sit. And you wanna see what happens between the water, not so messy, the water and all the dirt, and see what happens with the water. Is the water gonna lay on top? Is the water gonna sink to the bottom? Is the water gonna find the grooves and find all of its ways in? We're gonna have to take a look. But I'm first gonna read you a story, and then we'll take a look back at our jar. Okay, we'll let our dirt kind of settle and see what happens in that container, and I'm gonna read you the story, Mike Mulligan and his steam shovel. This is by Virginia Lee Burton. This is about a steam shovel truck and a man named Mike Mulligan, and they do a lot of good digging together throughout the years. This book, by the way, was written in 1939, which is about 80 years ago. It's one of Friedman classic favorites in the house. Mike Mulligan, let's get a good picture. Mike Mulligan had a steam shovel, a beautiful red steam shovel. Her name was Mary Ann. Mike Mulligan was very proud of Mary Ann. He always said that she could dig as much in a day as 100 men could dig in a week, but he had never been quite sure that this was true. Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann, they had been digging together for years and years. Mike Mulligan took such good care of Mary Ann, and she never grew old. It was Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann and some others who dug the great canals. They dug through the land, and then water filled in, and the boats were able to get through. It was Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann and some others who cut the mountains. They drove through, they dug up all the rocks, and they made passageways in the mountains so the trains can get through. It was Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann and some others that flattened the roads or flattened the hills. And then they made roads for the cars, buses, and trucks to get through. And it was Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann that made all these other hills flat, and then they made airport. They made flat spaces for the airplanes to land. And it was Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann and some others who dug the deep holes for the cellars of all the tall, new skyscrapers in the big cities. When people used to stop and watch them, Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann, they would dig a little faster and a little bit better. The more people that stopped, the faster and better that they dug. Some days they would keep as many as 37 trucks busy taking away all the dirt that they would dig up. And you could see they made a passageway for the trucks to get in and out. Then came along the diesel engines and the gasoline-powered cars and trucks and the electric cars and trucks. And no one wanted to use a steam shovel anymore. Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann, they were very sad. Look at how sad he was. He barely has any work to do. The new and improved type of automobiles were coming around. All the other steam shovels, nobody wanted them, so they were just put into the ditch. Nobody was using them. Mary Ann was like the last one. And so he went looking for work, and he saw something that was advertising, there's a new town, Popperville, and they're going to build a downtown square. You know what? Maybe we should apply for the job to build the new cellar of the new building. Come on, Mary Ann, we should go to Popperville. So, Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann, they left the canals and the railroads and the highways and the airports and the big cities where no one wanted them anymore, and they went away into the country. They crawled along slowly up the hills and down the hills till they came to the little town of Popperville. When they got there, they found the mayor of the town. Let's see the picture. They found the mayor of the town. And they were just deciding who was going to dig the cellar for the new town hall. Mike Mulligan spoke up and he said to one of the selectmen, I heard that you're going to build a new town hall. Mary Ann and I will dig the cellar for you in just one day. What? Said Henry B. Swap, he's the mayor. Dig a cellar in a day. It would take 100 men at least a week to dig the cellar for our new town hall. Sure, said Mike, but Mary Ann and I, we could dig in much in a day as 100 men could dig in a week. Though he had never been quite sure about that fact. And then he added, if we can't do it, you won't have to pay me. Henry B. Swap thought this would be an easy way to get out of paying for part of the cellar dig. So he smiled in rather a mean way, and he gave the job of digging the cellar of the new town hall to Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann. Oh, they got the job. They're so excited. They're back to work. They started in early the next morning, just as the sun was coming up. Remember, they have one full day to do the cellar. Do you think you will finish by sundown? Asked a little boy as he was coming down the lane. Sure, if you stay and watch us. We always work a little faster and we always work a little better when someone is watching us. So the little boy stayed to watch. And Mary Ann and Mike Mulligan got right to work. These were going to be the four corners of the new cellar. So they have to dig this whole area. They have to make the basement. Then Mrs. McGillicuddy, Henry B. Swap, and the town constable, they came over to see what was happening, and they stayed to watch. Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann, they dug a little faster and a little bit better. This gave the little boy a great idea, and off he ran, and he told the postman, and he told the telegraph boy, and he told the milkman, and they told the doctor on his way home, and the farmer that had his family coming to town. And all these people stayed to watch Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann. And the sun was getting higher in the sky. Ooh, the day is almost halfway over. Clang, 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 the fire department arrived. They had seen the smoke and they thought there was a big fire. But there was no fire. It was just the steam coming out of the steam engine. So the fire department, they decided to stay and watch. And halfway, the sun is hopping high in the sky, and they finished the second corner of the cellar. Now, the girl who answers the telephone, she called up the next town of Bangerville and Bopperville and Kipperville and Copperville and told them what was happening in Popperville. All the people came over to see if Mike Mulligan and his steam shovel could dig the cellar in just one day. The more people came, the faster Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann dug, but they would have to hurry. There was only halfway through and the sun was beginning to go down. They finished the third corner. It was neat and it was square. Look at all the people watching them. They are working fast. Never had Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann had so many people to watch them. Never had they dug so fast and so well. And never had the sun seemed to go down so fast. Hurry, Mike Mulligan, hurry, hurry, shouted the little boy. There's not much more time. Dirt was flying everywhere, and the smoke and the steam were so thick, but the people could hardly see anything, but they can listen. Bang, bang, clam, slam, faster and faster, louder and louder. Then suddenly, it was quiet. Slowly, the dirt settled down. The smoke and the steam cleared away, and there was the cellar, and it was finished. And there were four corners, neat and square. Four walls, straight up and down. Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann, they were at the bottom, and he was kind of bowing to the people. He was so proud. Hooray, shouted the people. Hooray for Mike Mulligan and his steam shovel. They have dug the cellar in just one day. Oh. Suddenly, the little boy said, how are they going to get out? Uh-oh, that's right. How is he going to get his steam shovel out? They didn't know what that meant, but Henry B. Swap, the mayor, said, well, you didn't quite finish the job because you didn't get the steam shovel out. Mike Mulligan looked around at the four walls and he said, we dug so fast we forgot to make a way out. Nothing like this has ever happened to him, to Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann before. They didn't know what to do. Nothing like this has ever happened before in Popperville, and everybody started talking at once, and everybody started having a solution at once. And Henry B. Swab said, the job isn't finished because Mary Ann isn't out of the cellar, so Mike Mulligan won't get paid. And he smiled in rather a mean way. But the little boy, he was keeping very quiet, and he had a good idea. He said, why couldn't we leave Mary Ann in the cellar and build the new town hall above her? She can be the steam furnace for the new town hall, and let Mike Mulligan be the janitor. Then you wouldn't have to buy a new furnace, and we could pay Mike Mulligan for digging the cellar in just one day. Why not? Said Henry B. Swab, and he smiled in a way that was not so mean. Why not? Said Mrs. McGillicuddy. Why not? Said the town constable. Why not? Said all of the people. So they found a ladder and climbed down into the cellar to ask Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann. Why not? Said Mike Mulligan. And so it was decided. Everybody was happy. And they built the new town hall building. And every day, the little boy went over to see Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann in the building. Mrs. McGillicuddy, she would take nice hot apple pies. And as Henry B. Swab, he spends most of his days in the cellar of the new town hall listening to the stories that Mike Mulligan has to tell and smiling in a way that isn't mean at all. Now, when you go to the town of Popperville, be sure to go down in the cellar of the new town hall. There, they'll be Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann. Mike is in his rocking chair, and he's smoking his pipe. And Mary Ann will be beside him, warming up the meetings in the new town hall. The end. I love that story. All right. We dug some dirt. They were digging a bunch of dirt. We let our dirt settle in a jar. Let's go take a look at it, and let's see what we can discover. Okay, let's take a look at our jar of water and soil. Can you see the line right here? I can't. Right here. See that line? All of the heavier things in the soil, like the clay, give you the best like the clay and the rocks have settled to the bottom. And then the lighter soil is floating in the water towards the top. And let me show you inside the jar. At the very top of the jar, can you see what's floating up in there? Do you see that stick? There's a stick that was floating right at the top. So if there's any leaves or sticks, they would come right to the top. I hope you can see this with this angle. If you try to replicate this, this would be awesome. Okay, boys and girls, thank you so much for joining me today. Tomorrow, Mrs. Regula is going to be here with you. She's going to do some talking about some bugs and different critters that lives in dirt and that you see around in the springtime. I'll be back with you on Wednesday. Again, Mrs. Regula will be here on Thursday. That's how our week's going to line up. And on Friday, we're going to have another Zoom meeting. And I'm going to send an invitation to your family so then you can pop on with us. At this Friday's Zoom meeting, do you remember we were doing the guessing box, and everybody I hope got a chance. If you still have to do your guessing box stuff, we can get that in. But we're going to start something new. And this week we're going to have 8 children present something at our Zoom meeting, and then the next week we'll have the other 8 children do. So every day we're going to announce who's going to get ready for the Zoom meeting. And the activity that we're going to ask you to get ready for is we're going to have you do show and tell. Find something in your house that you absolutely love. And you want, when somebody comes over to play at your house, you want to show this toy off. Or maybe it's something that you love to cuddle with at bedtime. Or maybe it's your favorite book. I don't know. Maybe it's even your sibling. I don't know what you're going to show off at show and tell. to pick one item that's your absolute favorite thing. Okay? Then you're going to get ready, and then when we ask you at the Zoom meeting, okay, it's time for show and tell, and I'll start calling one by one. You get to show your item. What are you going to want to talk about? You're going to want to say what it is, why you love that item, and what you do with it. Those are some important things we would want to know. Okay, so the first two people, get ready for show and tell. I'm going to ask NJ, if you are at our Zoom meeting, I would love to see something that you would love to show off for show and tell, and Petey. So the two of you are announced today to get ready for Friday. Tomorrow, Mrs. Regula will announce 2 more friends. I'll announce 2 more on Wednesday, 2 more on Thursday, and then we'll have 8 of you show off stuff at show and tell at our Zoom meeting. Sounds good? All right, I hope to see you on Friday at the Zoom meeting, but for now, dig closer, get lower, really observe things, get out there, have a nice day and dig in that dirt.